Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by Fantasy Football Scout's Deputy Editor Tom Freeman, who will be revealing his Game Week 11 team. Welcome Tom, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you, Joe. Yeah, how are you? You all right?
Yeah, all good. Green arrow. Unfortunately, you have a red arrow,
Yeah,
but it's a tiny red arrow for you, I
it is.
believe,
Yeah, yeah,
because it's broadly the same as it was before. And
yeah.
yeah, both of us were let down by our Sunderland players on the final Monday. My one, Alderete, didn't turn up, so I got
Yeah,
2 points from Van der Ven, not 23 points off the bench, and you had McKay.
I did, and obviously the clean sheet went early.
Yeah,
He didn't do very well for Defcons either.
no.
He looked okay in an attacking sense. There was one ball he whipped in for Isidore, which briefly got me glancing at the television, and there was a couple of other moments, but yeah, a bit of a non-event that one, and we'll talk about Jared Bowen in a bit, but
Yeah.
obviously that was disappointing as well.
Indeed, indeed. So what we'll do is we'll have a look and see how Tom got on in a game week 10. We'll have a look at his game week 11 team, and then we're going to have a look at the transfer market. Transfers in. We took at the 5 top players that have been transferred in. Are they worth transferring in? And those who have been transferred out. Are they worth being transferred out as well? And we'll reveal some stats as well, all from the Fantasy Football Scout .co.uk members area. Where do check out that website. Do check out the membership area there for latest access to latest tools and gadgets to help you climb up your mini leagues. Also, a quick reminder before we go on: do press that like button; really does help us out. And also, do remember to subscribe, keep update with our latest content wherever you receive it. Okay. Let's have a look and see how you got on in game week 10. 69 points, so a little bit above average, but not enough for a green arrow, but only just. So do you want to just take us through your team, who you're happy with, who you're sad with?
Yeah, not a great week overall, Joe. I'd been building up a bit of momentum, and it feels like it was stalled a little bit. But it's not a terrible game week, you know. It's pretty much average, so we'll kind of move on. But in terms of the team, I had Pope in goal, who just got the 3 points. Three defenders, two of them delivered. I got Gabriel with 12 and Richards with 6. And then Mukwele, who we just discussed then, just got the 1 point. He got booked. Midfield, really disappointing across the board. Enzo got 2, Semenyo got 2, Saka got 3, and Eza got 3. Up front, Haaland, as he does, got the brace and 26 points. Mateta, who was my transfer in for João Pedro, like a lot of people, got 9. And Bowen somehow blanked and got 2. On the bench, I had Dubravka 2. I had Xhaka as well, actually, who got the 10-pointer
Yeah.
on the bench. I'd originally earmarked this week to bench boost, so that was a little bit frustrating, but he was the only one who did return on my bench because Diouf got 2 and Truffert got 2.
Yeah, so I mean, Xhaka. I mean, that's the main difference, really. It's just if you'd have played Xhaka instead of one of those midfielders, or even Bowen. You know, obviously this is with hindsight. If we could all do this, if we would all be winning FPL. But
Yes.
but yeah, that's the difference between a green arrow and a red arrow. There and there. The 10 points is pretty strong for a first sub, doing his job really as a
Yeah, I
first sub.
think
Xhaka.
yeah, I'm not sure. I think he'll be in that position on my bench quite a lot given the fixtures for Sunderland, but he's probably not a bad one to have. He's not going to score every week, but he's probably going to get DEFCON every now and again, and so for a steady stream of 4 or 5 points hopefully. The midfielders, obviously, I said disappointed. I mean, they missed a lot of chances this week. Saka missed a couple of big chances. Thought Enzo should have got something in that match against Tottenham as well. So I'm going to give it one more week with these guys and then see where we're at. Bowen as well. I don't know if you saw the match, Joe, but it was a bit of a roller coaster.
Well, to be honest, as a Pope owner, and you are as well, I'm a Pope owner but not a Bowen owner. I think
Yeah,
Pope got 2 saves from that,
he did. Yeah, I
which
mean,
edged him above the second save point. So I was pleased.
yeah, I mean, Bowen came out, he hit the post in the first few minutes, and then it went down the other end, and Murphy scored. Then thought he'd won the penalty, which was correctly overturned, but at the time, in real time, it looked like a pen. And then obviously we had that at the end where Bowen shoots, it's saved. It looked like it had just been tapped in by Soucek, but Opta deemed that Soucek had a shot. It was then saved, and then it was kind of bundled over the line after. So no fantasy assist for that one. So he's come out of it with 2 points, and I'm not quite sure how,
No.
but got a good fixture next, Burnley at home. So keep him and then see what happens there.
Yeah, well, he's West Ham's best player. West Ham looked a bit
Yeah,
better. There was lots of
they
stuff in
did.
the programme notes I was hearing on the radio from him and the manager, basically urging the fans not to leave
Yeah,
and
and
early. And
they did well to turn it around
yeah,
because they obviously went down, didn't they?
yeah,
So yeah, I'm a little bit more optimistic about them. And if you own Paqueta and stuff, they're obviously easy holds this week.
so you've got the bench boost left. Before we look at your team and how it's set up for game week 11, you got the bench boost left. It doesn't look like a good week for you to play it in game week 11. I've still got the bench boost left as well. This week was probably a quite good week for me to play it, but I decided not to, and I'm glad I didn't because I would have got about 5 or 6 points.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And so I just think I'm going to leave it until my bench is better.
Same. Yeah, I'm not going to pencil it in or anything. We've obviously got these AFCON transfers coming up where we might be able to put 2 of those aside to kind of manoeuvre around a little bit. It probably makes sense to wait for a good Sunderland fixture for me because
Yeah.
I've got Mukwele, I've got Xhaka. But yeah, I'm not going to plan around it too much at the moment. I'm just going to play it when it kind of feels right.
Yep.
And hopefully, get like 15 points would be a result, something like that.
Oh, that'd be absolutely huge, I think. And I think people who've done a really good bench boost, you have to, concede that it's fortunate in a single game week because if you've got a good score, so you've got, like, for example, if you'd have played it now, Xhaka getting 10 points, that's not normal. Van der Ven getting 23 points, not normal.
Yeah.
Rodon getting 13 points, not normal. And it's trying to nail those hauls. And if you can get that on a bench boost, wow. But mostly, I would be looking at a couple of 2 points, maybe a couple of 4 points with a bit of DEFCON. So I'd be looking, if I can get through my bench boost with about 10 to 12, wow, I would think I've done okay, I think.
Yeah, it's difficult because even just getting 4 starters on your bench can sometimes be a full squad is a challenge as well, isn't it? Because like Alderete this week obviously didn't turn up. We did have suspicions before deadline, but even so, it's hard. That's why the double game weeks are great in a way because even if a player doesn't start the first one, he's probably going to start the second. But it is tricky. So yeah, maybe 12. I mean, 15 points would be great. Maybe 12 points is maybe roughly what we should be kind of aiming for. But let's see. We'll have a look a bit further down the line and decide maybe around those AFCON transfers to do it.
Yeah, and so Sunderland, so you're quite heavy on Sunderland. You've got a couple of Sunderland players. I've got one, Alderete, and I don't really want to lose him for 4 million, and I might indeed look at someone like Xhaka. So game week 12, Fulham at home, away, is probably the only one that's coming up soon.
Well,
maybe
there's
Bournemouth at home, maybe.
Yeah, I mean Bournemouth aren't great away. They give up a lot of chances.
Yeah.
So for somebody like Xhaka, I don't mind that. They've got Leeds at home in game week 18. Whether or not I want to hold off that long, I'm not sure. But that could be used with those AFCON transfers in 16. That could potentially queue up something there. So yeah, I'll keep my options open, I think, and have a look.
Okay, so we've established you're not going to be playing your bench boost in game week 11. I'll put your game week 11 team up there. You've got 1 free transfer, nothing in the bank.
That's right, yeah.
Do you want to just take us through the team and what your initial thoughts are?
Yeah, sure, Joe. Yeah, so I've got Pope in goal again. He's away at Brentford. Not a great fixture. I think Brentford are pretty good at home, but I fancy him more than Dubravka this week. So at the back, I've got Gabriel, Richardson, Diouf. I've got Enzo, Semenyo, Saka, and Eza in midfield. Haaland captain, Mateta and Bowen up front.
Yeah.
And then on the bench, Dubravka, Xhaka, Truffert and Mukwele. No money in the bank, like you said.
Yeah.
1 free transfer. But unless the European matches throw up anything, any injuries, I'm tempted to save this week and roll the transfer because the team looks good. It's got good fixtures throughout. The defence is fine. I was a bit concerned about Diouf in that West Ham game on Sunday. He was at fault for the first game, but I think he recovered and did well enough to kind of keep his place. I hope he did anyway. So yeah, the team looked good. The only move I flirted with last week and was looking ahead was thinking Eza to Rodgers because I think that Rodgers is kind of getting back to his old self a little bit. They had Bournemouth they've got Bournemouth coming up at home this weekend. They then go to Leeds. But I think given the Gyökeres injury, which we'll talk about in a bit probably, I think Eza could be quite an important part of that Arsenal team at the weekend. We'll log their minutes tonight and see what happens. But yeah, tempted to just roll, and I don't know. I've looked ahead, and I'd like a bit of flexibility for game week 12. There seems to be a bit more in terms of fixture swings, a bit more. We discussed it last week, I think, Joe. There's a bit more happening in game week 12.
Yeah.
So I could potentially take out Eza and Bowen next week as the fixtures shift and move to a Man United midfielder and maybe Igor Thiago, something like that. So that's what I've got in the back of my mind to do.
Yeah, definitely with those fixtures as well. Liverpool have a good run that starts with Nottingham Forest at home. Manchester United's fixtures are arguably good from game week 11, but game week 12 they improve as well. Meanwhile, Chelsea have Burnley away. Fulham Sunderland could be interesting. I'm not sure which way that will go really.
That's cool.
But yes, as you said, and also it's gone unnoticed because everyone had enough of Aston Villa, even though they're your team, had enough of Aston Villa early on. But quietly, they're actually improving. Morgan Rogers is improving, and they've got Bournemouth next at home. Then they've got Leeds away, Wolves at home, which doesn't get better than that. Brighton away. Brighton always, well, unless you're Leeds, they always concede. Then Arsenal's at home is a tricky one, game week 15. But
it gets trickier after that.
It is at home, but then they got West Ham away, game week 16.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of looking at Rodgers. I don't think you can go. I don't think you can go for Watkins at the moment. It's just not quite happening for him. But Rodgers, I thought in that first half against Liverpool, up until about 30 minutes, he hit the post. He looked lively. So I don't dislike that. But I just think that Eza this week, it's Sunderland away is a tricky fixture now, as we've seen. But it's still Arsenal and best team in the league at the moment. So tempting to give him one more week and then have another look.
Okay, so Morgan Rogers isn't in the top transfers in this week, or out even, because we're the only content creators mentioning Morgan Rogers probably at the moment. So hold that thought. We can be smug next week when he's or ahead of game 12 when he scores this week. But let's have a look at who the top transfers in. Some of them we can probably don't have to talk too much about. Some of them we might. Mateta's top. He's 7.9 now, lots of price rises. He's in a quarter of teams, that's overall. His form is, I think this is over the last 4 games or 5. I'm not sure what their form is, but in recent games, he's averaging 7.5 points, which is pretty good. He's got 48 points in total. And it's 250,000 people have got him in this week. That's this round of fixtures. There, he's top for minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty. Any of these players that we're going to mention every 91 minutes. In fact, out of any players, he's absolutely brilliant. I brought him in, rewarded me instantly with 9 points. Doesn't matter who you took out because Mateta matched or did better than them. So he's. I mean, I'm not going to say the word essential, but he's a very, very good pick at the moment.
Yeah, they've got some good fixtures coming up as well, haven't they? They've got Wolves and Burnley. The only concern with Mateta is that schedule in December. Once Palace, because they've obviously got European commitments. They've had their EFL Cup game moved, haven't they? Which helps them a little bit. But yeah, he's just he's the main man there, isn't he? And no Nketiah either. I did debate last week a little bit whether to bring him in for João Pedro or Bowen, just because I had those two forwards around the same price. But and I took out João Pedro. I mean, I don't think anybody could really see that performance coming at Tottenham at the weekend, given what we'd seen previously. Yeah. And I still think Mateta's the one to own with Haaland.
Yeah, definitely. I took Gyökeres out for Mateta. So it looks like Gyökeres. We'll talk about Gyökeres in a sec, but it looks like he might be out until after the international break. So out for this coming week. He's certainly out for Europe, as far as we know. Next up is Rice. Now, Declan Rice is an interesting one because traditionally he's not the sort of player we go for, but the occasional DEFCON points, the fact his role in the team, the set piece, Arsenal are just the set piece machine. He and Saka take the set pieces. So inevitably he's going to get some assists and he's getting the odd goal. He's got an assist and actually 2 goals in his last 4 starts. And his minutes per expected goal involvement non-penalty every 191 minutes, which is great for a 6.8 million midfielder. He's getting DEFCON every now and again. His ownership is let's have a look here, 16.7%, and his form is pretty strong as well, 7.7 points in recent games with 63 points. This is huge, and once again another 250,000 or so Managers brought him in. I got Sarr in. I guess I could have got Rice. I could have more points, but I still can't. I still want some attacking players in. I've got my Minte in my team as well. I want some.
Yeah.
I don't want too many of these. But Rice is an attacking player. We just got to get our heads around that he is an attacking player now.
Yeah, he's been doing well. I mean, he doesn't take many shots, Rice. I think we mentioned it in the scout notes. I think he's only taken a few shots all season, so
Yeah.
I don't expect the goals to continue. But there's other factors this season. You know, he's got that assist potential through set pieces.
Yeah.
He seems, without Odegaard in the team, has his role changed a little bit. Maybe he's just taken on a little bit more responsibility. He's got the DEFCON points, which he'll occasionally pick up. I mean, he's taken up an Arsenal spot, but given the way he's playing at the moment, it's deserved, you know. And I think that's why people have been getting frustrated with Saka, because they're seeing Rice at what is he, 6.8 million now, and he's doing a lot more than Saka.
Yeah.
So I get the kind of frustration. I think Saka returns are on the way for him. I'm sure they are.
He was so close to getting a mega haul against Burnley.
Yeah, he missed a couple of really good chances.
And you know, on another day they're going to go in, and it depends on who's taking the set pieces as well. So depending on what side they're from, and you know, some games you'll just see Rice taking them all, and some days you'll see Saka taking them all. So you know, it just happens to be Rice doing it, and then also that they might not get the assist because it might go on to the head of a defender who then gets it onto the head of another defender. So
yeah, I think for people who are going for Rice, though, I think fair enough. You know, he's showing enough recently for that price to kind of go there. I prefer him to Casado, who's a couple more bases down on this list.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I think all five of these are really good options to bring in, but I think some are better than others. Rice is a very very strong one as well. If I was to move off Sarr, for example, I'd be looking at Rice. Gabriel's next, 6.6. I mean, he's just amazing. Another double-digit haul. He's in 2 in 5 teams. Overall, that is his form. He's getting 11 points on average. A match. He's got 80 points all season. Once again, just below 250,000 people who don't own him already will bring him in. He's just going to go up and up and up, because he's getting so many routes to points as well. Yeah, I mean, you both had. I mean, when you have players like Gabriel, the game feels easy.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, they've got Tottenham and Chelsea coming up, but the way Arsenal are defending at the moment, even if you've got double Arsenal defence, you're just going to play them in those games. They're just looking so solid. So. I mean, on a wild card a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of considering Timber over Gabriel at one point. Thank God I didn't go through that, because he's just gone crazy since. But yeah, just a really easy transfer in if you don't have him yet.
Yeah.
So I think, it'd be interesting to see if he plays tonight or if he's rested.
Yeah. Next one's a little bit more controversial. He's 6 million, Casado. I mean, I know what he's like because of his days at Brighton as well. He does score, but they're from range often. So he's had 4 shots and he's scored a goal and he got an assist in his last 4 game weeks as well. But his minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalties, every 562 minutes, and he's just had 2 shots on target, which shows that any shots he does get, they're mainly going to be from range.
Yeah.
And you're not going to. They're very difficult to predict those, but what you can predict is he'll probably get DEFCON. He does well for that. So his DEFCON is per start is 0.7 points. So pretty much almost every other game. He's in a fifth of teams. His form is only 4.3, so he's considerably less than any of these other players. He is cheaper though. Once again, another 250,000 people have got him in. I'm going to hold off. I still prefer the likes of Minte, the attacking players, over him. I would prefer, I don't know, even Szoboszlai at Liverpool, roughly around that price. But I just can't quite, and it's not just because of a Brighton Chelsea bias thing, I just can't quite get myself to go mad on a Casado at that price.
I mean, having watched the Spurs game on Saturday, I was happy to own Enzo out of the two of them, who's a little bit more expensive, but he's the one who's looking the more threatening. But now Casado, he has these DEFCONs, and it was a tackle or an interception which won the assist, wasn't he? He was
Yeah.
pressing high up the pitch, and then put it into João Pedro. I'm not going to dismiss him,
No.
because he's even in bad performances, he can get 4 or 5 points if Chelsea keep a clean sheet, which is nothing to be sniffed at. It's just, I think, from watching games and stuff, I still think that Enzo will outscore him over a period of 6 game weeks or stuff. That hasn't happened so far,
Yeah.
but that's the way I'm looking at it.
Brian Bomo's final one on this list. 144,000 transfers in. He's getting him for 3 in 10 teams have got him overall. His form 8.7. I mean, I've got Bruno Fernandes. I'm not going to make the sideways switch.
No.
There's certain games with Bruno Fernandes, like for example the last game, it's probably going to be a bit better than Brian Bomo. But at home, I think Brian Bomo when they're more attacking. But yeah, he's a strong one. I don't think if you got any, I think if you don't have any Manchester United coverage, Brian Bomo or Bruno
Well,
Fernandes are very advisable to get in. They Tottenham away. And then they got
yeah.
Everton at home, Crystal Palace, West Ham at home, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home. I mean, this is a really strong set of fixtures coming up.
Yeah, and after the international break, I think I will move for a Man United midfielder to replace Eza. So I've got a decision there. Tempted to go for Mbomo over Fernandes at the
Yeah,
moment,
I
but
would.
just to do, yeah, he just seems to have that superior goal threat. I know Fernandes has got the more routes to points, and he's still a really good option. But yeah, I like the idea of Mbomo after the international break.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I say I would, I'm not going to switch Bruno Fernandes, but if I had none, I probably would go for Brian Bomo game week 12 because they've got Everton at home, which I think could be a stronger fixture. Let's have a quick look at the transfers out, see if they're justified or not. Kudus, 6.6. It's fixtures really for Spurs. They've got Manchester United, they've got Arsenal, Fulham, Newcastle, Brentford, Nottingham Forest. A bit patchy, but largely not good fixtures.
Yeah.
And there's all those players we just mentioned. A lot of them were around this price. Rice, for
Yeah.
example. Kudos in a third of teams. So I cheer when he fails.
Yeah, I mean, they just look really flat, especially at home Spurs, don't they? They're just not creating anything. And it's been like that against Villa, and it was against the same at the weekend. So, yeah, he's a definite transfer out, I think, if you've got him.
Yeah. Reinders as well. Now, he was benched, but I think Pep Guardiola said he wanted to start him. But he's in a fifth getting on for over a fifth of teams. His form absolutely dire, 1.5, and this is why he's falling in favour. I did get him in briefly, then got rid of him. I haven't missed him. It's just there's better players. I mean, Xhaka is a better player and he's cheaper, and by better player I mean a better FPL pick at the moment.
Seems to be, yeah. He was benched at the weekend, like you say. Pep said it was fitness. He had only started training on Saturday. But even taking that out of account, he's only got 1 assist in his last 9 matches. Hasn't scored since game week 1. So you've got Cherky coming back as well, which kind of it changes perhaps his role a little bit as well. Maybe he played as a number 6 at Villa Park Rangers last week before last, and maybe it is going to be a bit deeper. So I can completely understand why people would be moving him on. You've got Minter, who you've got, Joe, who's only 0.5 more. I think he'll do better than him over the next few weeks as well.
Now, the next game, I think they're being a bit hasty. If I owned Baltimore, I'd be keeping him. He's away to Brentford next. They've got Man City at home. That's tough. Then Everton away, fine. Tottenham at home, fine. Burnley at home, very fine. Sunderland away, that'll do. He's 7.5. It doesn't look like he's going to come back anytime soon. I think there was some kind of setback. I think he was originally penciled to come in after the international break, but I don't think that's going to happen.
On.
His form's actually not too bad, 4.2 points on average. Recent matches, 140,000 people have had enough though. I guess they're probably looking at Mateta.
Yes.
And I think, yes, perhaps you would do that. I've got Mateta in recently as well, so I can see why. But I think if you've already got Mateta and Mortimer's your third striker, I'd be keeping him, I think.
Yeah, he was taken off at half time at the weekend, and I think that will probably influence people's decisions because it was obviously seen as a really good matchup for Newcastle, wasn't it? And he's got taken off with Gordon. I wouldn't use that as a reference to what's going to happen in the future, though. I think that was a bit of a one-off, him coming off that early. And I think he's a keep as well, Joe. I don't think I'd be looking to move him on just yet. I'd give him a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a couple of goals, but he's had 9 shots. I mean, only a couple on target, but 9 shots. So he's getting that volume of shots in. over the last 4, and he's created 3 chances as well. Yeah, if he's your biggest problem, then you've won FPL.
Yeah.
Next name is Gyökeres, 9 million. I got rid of him because I just looked at that price tag. I looked at the price tag of Mateta and just thought, well, I can get, well, at bare minimum, I'm getting the same player, but I'm not. I'm getting a better player who's just considerably cheaper. So that's a no-brainer. Gyökeres is in a fifth of teams, and over 100,000 managers have had enough so far this week. That looks justified because it looks like he's out game week 11 as well.
Yeah, I think we heard from a report on The Athletic before we came on, and it suggested he'd be out until after the international break. We haven't heard from Arteta yet. We'll see what he says later on after the Slavia Prague game. But yeah, I think if he is out, I think he's a sell because after the Sunderland match, that was maybe that's the end of Arsenal's really good run. Of course, they can still do well against Tottenham. They can still do well against Chelsea and the other games they've got coming up. But I think for a £9 million forward, and knowing what we've seen from Gyökeres so far, I think you could easily move him on if he isn't going to make it against Sunderland.
Yeah, and final name, Ekitike for Liverpool. Yeah, it's just rotation, really. I mean, he has had last 4. He's had 7 shots, but none of those on target, which is a concern. So he's had no goals or assists, which is why 80,000 managers this week have seen enough. But Isak, we just don't know about his injury situation. I still think he's going to get minutes. Ekitike.
He will, yeah.
But it is a tricky one to keep when you've got the likes of Mateta scoring, Voltemade scoring. Obviously, Haaland as well is going to be in most teams, I would say, apart from FPL Generals earlier this week, but he's going to be in most teams. But Ekitike, I think with 8.6, I think it is possibly you can move on, but it's a tough one because the fixtures are good.
Well, that's it. We're all looking for a Liverpool attacker, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we can't. I still don't think. I know Salah got the goal against Villa. I know he scored against Brentford, but I'm just not convinced that that is the route to go down to cram him in with Haaland. So then we're looking around. We're looking at Gakpo. We're looking at Szoboszlai, and naturally Ekitike comes up because he had the goal disallowed at the weekend. He led the line against Villa, but you've got Isak there, and he's not out long term. So they're going to eat into each other's minutes, and that might mean that neither of them are ownable.
Yeah.
Over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Gakpo is an option, but he's prone. He can come off on the hour mark if it isn't going as well. So it's really difficult. That's why I think Szoboszlai will be popular over the international break, because you're just getting that regular minutes. You're getting the DEFCON potential, little bit of assist potential, occasionally a goal.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will go for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's the pricing doesn't help us at all because they piled all the pricing of Liverpool into Salah, and if Haaland's scoring a brace every match or every other match, then we can't. You're going to need both, but both is really difficult. I mean, all of us who've wildcarded in the last few weeks have probably tried that and failed. Because it means you can't have Mateta, it means you can't have Gabriel, it means you can't have all of these players in.
Yeah, I think if Salah was obviously showing some really good form and he was consistently doing it, it might be more of a consideration. But I'm not completely convinced that he is back to the level that we wanted him to be at the start of the season. So until we see that, it's not really a consideration cramming him in and then having to take out, like you say, Joe, some really good other players as well. You know, I want Mateta in there. Yeah. And your Gabriels, and you want those players in. I don't think that Salah and Haaland will make up for that.
No, definitely. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. I hope that's been of use to everyone watching and listening. We'll be back again ahead of game week 12 because there's an international break. So I guess we'll be taking a week off, but then we'll be back with the show just ahead of that game week 12 deadline on the usual Tuesdays. But in the meantime, good luck with the game week. Good luck with the international break, and see you soon, Tom.
Cheers, Joe.